Haiku de Sesto. I'll explain you her story later. I had the pleasure to collaborate with her years ago, and she's a videographer and a photographer, but she's worked as influencer for many brands. And you'll see a different type of influencer than what we are usually seeing online. That sometimes has devaluated a bit the word influencer. So we'll have to change that perception, and Haiku is a good example for that. And some questions and answers at the end. So again, for those who don't know me, who is Stefania Brunori? My expertise is in brand strategy. Of course, I have specialized in the last years as a marketer in social media and digital marketing and personal branding as well. I support entrepreneurs. I provide workshops, talks with different educational institutes. I also have my own workshops, which I'll talk briefly at the end of today's session. This is the portfolio of some of my clients. I've worked in multinationals in different sectors, in interiors, in fashion, in education. My last corporate job was in Nokia, and that was the first time that I was in touch with the influencers, and we created the brand ambassadors strategy that I'll share some highlights with you today. Last but not least, and that's why there is a picture on the left down corner, I am a wellness advocate. I did my yoga certification years ago, and I've been teaching as well, few hours per week, because this is like my passion. I do create content on wellness and yoga and meditation. And let's kick off. So I don't know you, but this is a question that I get asked constantly in any of my workshops, my master classes. What can I do to grow the likes on my social media? Putting aside that I don't think that likes, well, it's not that I think, the reality is that likes doesn't bring you leads, right? Likes are likes, you need to convert. But anyway, I know the importance as well on getting likes and getting engagement. So why are we not getting likes? And furthermore, I would say why we are getting less and less likes every single day. I'm going to share with you 4 reasons. The fourth one, I have to say that may annoy you a bit. The first one is that there are more than 4.5 billion pieces of content created daily. This means something like more than 800,000 scroll downs on Instagram, more than 200 million emails every 60 seconds. The scroll downs on Instagram is also every 60 seconds. And 80 million messages shared across WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger every 60 seconds. So imagine, we are talking about more than 4.5 billion pieces of content created daily, and the other statistics that I've shared with you in 60 seconds. So the reality is that we are saturated of content. There is a lot. We've been really connected online for many hours during the pandemic. And of course, this is changing slightly, but we are still bombarded by content. Reason number 2 is the speed of changes on social media. So I was posting different polls on my LinkedIn, asking for the people if they were using already Clubhouse. And some of the people were asking, what is Clubhouse? And this is the reality. There are new things that we don't even know what they are. Can I create a LinkedIn newsletter? Did you know that you can create a LinkedIn newsletter? Or how can I create reels on Instagram now that, at least in the UAE, they started the last week? We were not able to use Instagram reels. I can share with you many other changes that are on the way. Twitter is testing as well a newsletter feature. Facebook is trying to do something similar to Clubhouse. Instagram is testing having captions on the stories. So as you can see, it's very difficult to keep up with all these changes because they affect to the algorithms. So what we were doing 1 year ago, most probably, is not working anymore now. Reason number 3 of why we are not getting likes or what we are not getting enough engagement on social media. The organic reach is decreasing, and this is the reality. I've been managing social media accounts and different clients on digital, and since I started 7 years ago with the digital side till now, it's dropping. And some of the clients usually ask, How is that possible that our content is not getting so much engagement as before? And I say, well, before we didn't need to pay for ads. Now we need to pay for ads. This is the reality. It's all about money, almost. It is true that still through good content, there are still some platforms that you can still have really good engagement, such as LinkedIn or TikTok. But we need to put the mindset of spending, whether it is through influencers or through ads, you name it. And for last but not least, and this may annoy someone, maybe your content is boring or my content is boring. So I am not blaming on anyone. This is on us. When I work with SMEs or entrepreneurs, but Stefania, I am sharing content every day, and I don't know why people are not seeing it. And I say, well, maybe they are seeing it, but they don't like it. Are you maybe sharing posts like if it was a brochure of your products? Are you sharing content that I would really share with a friend or I would forward it to a colleague? So social media is not a place to bombard the others constantly with our offers, our products, our services. Content really needs to take a different road. And these are the main 4 reasons why it is not working. But mainly, we need good content. It's as simple as that. The increase in hours that we spend here has skyrocketed. This is the device that we have at less than 1 meter distance most of the day. We are always checking and we are engaging with content, but at the same time, it's very easy to swipe right, to cancel, to swipe up, to see the next video, to see the next content. So unless our content is really interesting and engaging, nobody's going to keep on seeing it. They will see it once and then they will forget us. What happens with content marketing and why it is so important? So it is not me. I can share with you some data. It generates 3 times more leads than with traditional marketing. Why is that? It is simply because of the approach. If I am sharing content with you regarding tips on social media, for example, or if you are a fashion brand and you are sharing with your audience which are the trends for the next year, or how can you use a t-shirt in a different way, in 3 different ways, or if I give you an ebook to understand how this IT program works for you for free, of course you are going to consume this product and you're going to keep on engaging with me. And engagement and being loyal to a brand is what is going to, at the end, facilitate those leads. If I post every day something trying to sell to you, it's not going to work. There is something that we call in marketing the rule of 7, which means that we need to reach out to someone 7 times before they will even consider buying from us, which means that we cannot bombard the people with our offers. If done well, content marketing can generate the triple of leads than the traditional marketing. This is similar to what I was saying before, but more targeted to B2B, because I also wanted to bring into this session the importance of influencer marketing for B2B. What is happening in B2B is that those tactics and activities that we used to do in B2C are slowly but surely coming to B2B. Those who find influencer marketing still strange for B2B won't be surprised if after 1 year or 2 is 100% really incorporated into the B2B marketing in many companies. The buyers, when it comes to B2B, to buying from a company to another company, which by the way, is never true because at the end of the day, we are buying from a person, okay? So the buyers tend to make 12 different online searches before interacting with the final website, which means that they may go to LinkedIn. They may go to ask in WhatsApp to a friend. They may find a referral. They may see an ad. So there are 12 steps before they can find our website most of the times. I'm not saying when they know that we exist. I know I'm talking when they are making their research. I would like to have an accountancy software for my company. They will start Googling, they will search the reviews, they will go to LinkedIn, they will go to a blogger's review. Okay, so we need to be really mindful and aware that, yes, the people are going to check this type of content. And that's why influencer marketing is also so important for B2B. Which is the type of influencer content that is most valued by the B2B buyers that we were talking before? The case studies. So it means that you may have a professional from your sector talking about how they could improve their revenues, or how their processes were performed better, how they reduce their time of invoicing. So again, it's not you selling, but doing it through a third party. It is going to be more credible, and it's going to be a higher chance that it will convert into leads. The return on investment for influencers marketing is per each dollar spent generates $6. Look, when it comes to return on investment with influencers, it's quite difficult to measure. Why? It's really complicated to, if not impossible, to really know where the lead is coming 100%. Why? You'll have your influencers campaign, but you will have your emails campaign as well. And you will have your social media working, and you will have your Google ads and your YouTube paid ads at the same time, plus your workforce on the street. So we'll come later to the challenge of how to measure the return on investment, but these are the average type of numbers that we are sharing. To understand if someone is a trend that is going to stay or is going to disappear, it's always good to look at the past. And the reality is that since 2016, you can see the growth of influencer marketing. And as I was saying, things that we used to do in business to consumer marketing, we are seeing it now in business to business, right? We used to have videos on Instagram. Now we are having videos shared on LinkedIn, which was not the norm. But the last year, we saw a lot of that, even if we are selling to companies. So the projected estimated growth for 2021 is to jump from 9.7 billions to 13.8 billion. And probably this will be even higher, depending on how long we are not going to be full-fledged offline. But for sure, it's going to keep on growing. And imagine, once it is in B2B, how much it is going to grow. So, okay, we've been a while talking about influencer marketing, but what it is in reality? There are many different definitions, and I have my own that I have created from here, from there, getting some ideas together and thinking on what it is relevant when you create an influencer's marketing strategy. For me, influencer marketing is the practice of engaging trusted, and this is very important, trusted sector experts, and experts is also important, with relevant audiences to help you achieve measurable business goals. I'll repeat it again and really highlighting the points that I'd like really to stick. The practice of engaging trusted, and trusted means they can back up with data what they are showing you. Sector experts. So if I'm going to trust someone, is because I know that they are an expert on what they are talking about, right? They are a thought leader. They can talk about the features of a software, or they can highlight the properties of a sustainable clothing brand because they are sustainability advocates, okay? With relevant audiences. Again, who am I talking to? If my relevant audience is people interested in sustainability, that's the type of influencer that I need to search. Someone who is talking to people interested in sustainability as well. And that will help you achieve measurable business goals. Believe me, this is one of the main mistakes that the people, the companies do when they start with influencers, that they don't measure which is the impact. And then we don't really know which is the growth that we have through the influencers, right? So there are different types of influencers as well. You can have opinion leaders, you can have industry experts, you can have brand ambassadors. But the reality is that they all have something in common, is that they can create an influence on the purchase decision of others. And it will depend on your sector, on your company, on the type of sales that you are having, if it is business to consumer or business to business, that you will reach out to some or all of them or one specific type of influencer. I'm curious to know, before we continue, I'm going to stop this 1 second. I'd like to understand from the people in the audience who is currently using any type of influencer marketing. So I can see in which situation are you, plus your industry. So if you'd like to share here on the chat, if you are using any type of influencers and which is your industry. So I can give you more relevant examples or tips that we will also discuss at the end. So I'm curious to know if someone is been using influencers. In the last social media workshop that I had 1 month ago, one of the attendees, one of the students, was from the hospitality sector, and they were using influencers in their campaigns. Well, they were researching about using influencers in their campaigns because they knew that this is the way forward. So I know that there are some industries that are really more likely to have influencers. So yeah, I don't get any reply. So maybe it's that you are not using influencers. Anyway, if you want to reply, I can see it while I continue with the presentation. So what can we achieve? Why are so important influencers? The influencers or brand ambassadors or thought leaders, you name it. Well, number one, they can help you reach new audiences. If you are selling already, imagine that you have a clothing brand and you are selling mostly men's wear, for example, and you want to reach out to a new audience, maybe it is easier. Well, maybe no, it is going to be easier at the beginning if you do it through influencer marketing. And again, I'm trying to change this perception from influencer, the person who is taking a selfie and that's it, from someone that is really professional and can help you really grow your company and is committed. So if you are working with some influencers that they are already targeting this audience that you don't have expertise and you are not aware on what they like, which is the type of content that they prefer, influencer marketing can help you reach these new audiences. The second, obviously, is leads generation. And I'm going to give you an example on a type of influencer. I was working with an entrepreneur with her startup, and she got in touch with an influencer, which is a radio presenter here in the UAE. And what we agreed with my client was we would measure her social media just before the radio show and just before the radio show, so we could know exactly the impact that she was having. She had a 20% increase on sales as a result of that campaign that she did with the radio presenter. So it works, it generates leads. And that's one of the other benefits that we can get from influencer marketing. Brand awareness. So if we are new or we just want to keep being seen on top of mind of the people, working with some other influencers can help. So we have a kind of a guerrilla or a team that can be distributing our message without us being too heavy on our followers, talking constantly about our brand, right? And last but not least, the market penetration. Imagine that you haven't been working in the UAE and you want to bring your products here. Of course, you can do some other types of marketing, but if you are using locally based influencers, you are already going to gain the trust of your potential clients. It will speed your process and you will be able to generate leads faster than if you were using any other means of traditional marketing. The power of influencer marketing is big because it is really a trusted type of content if it is done well. We'll talk with an expert later on and she will share some tips with us. So some of you were working with influencers before. I have a sleepwear brand for women, but I have not found an influencer that I can lead to increase in sales. We'll be talking about that later as well in the questions and answers, because really with the influencers is one of the mistakes that I see usually is that the people get an influencer for 1 month and they believe that after that month, things should always work, right? The example that I've shared about the radio station was very specific, was a targeted campaign. They had a 20% increase on sales, but if you want to have increased sales, you need to keep on working with influencers. And if you work with more than one, is better. What else? So there are different levels of influencers. So not all, we may not have the budget sometimes to work with the mega influencers that have more than 1 million followers, but there are still nano influencers or micro influencers. So the nano influencers usually are the ones that are less than 1,000 followers, or micro influencers between 1,000 and 100,000. But imagine if they are reaching out to the same audience that you want to talk to, why not? You can still work with them. Probably it's going to be even easier. I'll give you an example of a brand that is in cosmetics, and, and they wanted to reach out to a very healthy type of audience. And they are always thinking on beauty influencers. Why not you partner with fitness instructors that are reaching out to healthy people as well? Or why do you don't reach out to healthy food brands so you can have this type of influencers as well, or with nutritionists? You see the difference? And it doesn't mean that they don't have an impact. Yes, they are going to have an impact 100% in the type of audience that you have, which is in this case, healthy people that are really ticking in the same box that the audience that you want to reach. Then, of course, you can go for micro influencers. It all depends as well on your budget and the growth that you want to achieve. Types of content that are having the highest engagement: video, 100%. If you are not doing video, and I'm talking now beyond influencer marketing on social media, please don't take longer than 2021 to jump into video, because the engagement, you cannot compare a static post with a video. And platforms like LinkedIn that we are now, where there is a race of content, but is still having a very good organic engagement with video, it really grows faster. Then we are talking about B2B in this specific case, the case studies. The webinars like this one are working really well. And of course, in a webinar, if you are bringing together these influencers, thought leaders, opinion influencers, you are going to have a higher chance to reach to a higher audience, because they are already followed by a number of people that trust their opinion. Okay, so that's the game. And of course, the posts as well. I want to share quickly with you the case studies, and then we will be welcoming our guest. So yes, let's jump into this. If you have any question, meanwhile, please drop me any line on the chat box and I'll reply. So I wanted to share two different types of influencer marketing. One is Nokia, which was business to consumer, and SAP, which is business to business. So in Nokia, I was there responsible for the brand ambassadors strategy. I'm going to share with you a funny story, and it is that at that time, I even didn't have Instagram. So when I was appointed as the brand ambassadors strategy responsible, I had to find and select and engage with online influencers. And I was rarely on social media. So it was a very learning curve. It was at the time that Instagram was really picking up in the UAE. And the main objective for that campaign was to position the brand in the youth segment. What happened with Nokia, and those who, like me, have an age, and we are more than 40, we have been raised with Nokia around, but the younger generations, they don't even know what is a Nokia or what was this type of flip phone that we used to like so much. So they wanted really to penetrate that type of segment. Remember on the objectives or benefits that I was talking before on reaching a new segment or penetrating a market. So what we did is to focus on brand ambassadors in two different categories. One would be online influencers in sectors that were aligned with the youth, that the youth were going to find interesting, like arts, videography, music, etc. And the second, it was to find campus influencers in universities. So just sharing with you quickly the results, we had a 5 million exposure in 3 months with all the brand ambassadors. And I'll take you through the process. What I did was In both cases, both in the campus and with influencers, I conducted a series of interviews. Why with interviews? Because I think it is crucial for influencers and brand ambassadors to really click with the project that you are launching, with the brand values, and to be authentic. And that's how I was screening. Of course, I was doing a pre-selection based on the numbers that they had. But then for me, it was really an exercise of engaging with them, seeing really that they were falling in love with the brand. Because if you don't fall in love with the brand, how are you going to be credible really when you create content? So this is how we did it. And on top of that, we had an impromptu collaboration with another influencer that was really interesting. So Mike Callis is a normal person. I mean, he's not an influencer, had never created content. And he approached us because he was going to do a fitness challenge. He was going to cycle from the UAE to the UK, passing by through Iran, Turkey, etc. Then went through Italy, crossed Europe till UK. And as he was cycling and he was alone, he didn't want to take a camera with him, but he wanted to have a mobile that would allow him to keep connected, to have calls, and at the same time to take very good pictures. And at that time, the product, the Nokia mobile that we were working with, was the Nokia Lumia that had a 40 megapixels camera, and that's why he approached us. So what we did was a strategy with him where he was documenting the whole trip from, as I said, UAE to UK. It was a project that he did in collaboration with Medicine Sans Frontières, so that's why the logo is there. And excuse my French if there is any French speaker in the audience. I do not speak French. So he was having an impact as well on his audience. And he was not selling Nokia. He was just sharing the fantastic pictures that he was doing, the videos that he was taking, and sharing from time to time that he was able to do this, or that his device was the Nokia Lumia 1020. So this is how you can have an influence without really sounding too salesy. Regarding B2B, then the story changes a bit, but still influencers have this impact that I was sharing before of being able to generate the triple of leads, and is going to increase in the future. So what SAP did in 2016, they had an event. So let's go back to the times before the pandemic, where most of the people didn't know what is a Zoom, where most of the people wouldn't really maybe join an online webinar. So they wanted to build thought leadership, and they were reaching out to independent business consultants, academics, and authors and bloggers. And what they did is to live stream with these independent business consultants and the bloggers and the authors, to live stream to more than 100,000 attendees. It was a super success. So imagine all these people that could not attend the live the event in person, because it was live stream where it was happening really on the event, being broadcasted with these influencers. It would have been impossible to be done without them, because there was not such the structure that we have now. So these are two different examples in which you can see how the content co-creation actually can help boost your visibility and boost your sales, and being able to take your influencers marketing forward. I'd like to introduce Haiku, which is a super pleasure for me. We were working together at the times of Nokia. She was one of our brand ambassadors. She did an excellent job. If I'm not wrong, and you will correct me, Haiku, she's celebrated the 7th anniversary of her company, which reminds me that this was 7 years ago. She's been named one of the 300 most influential Filipinos in the Gulf, is a brand ambassador, is being a brand ambassador to many brands like Sephora, Harper Bazaar, Puma, Purificación García, Timberland, Tag Heuer, MR, a Wi-Fi campaign, Netflix, a Girl Boss campaign. And I'd like really to talk to her. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and inviting you Haiku. So I think you have to unmute yourself.
Hi.
No.
How are you?
I'm so pleased that you are here today, and it's so nice to see you. I mean, we've seen each other during these years, but I'm really so pleased every time that I see that they give you a new award, that you do again some fantastic content, that you reach so high, because I think, and this comes really from my heart, that authenticity is the key. So
Thank you.
yes, you're more than welcome. So I'm not going to explain how you started in all this influencer marketing, so I'm going to pass it to you. So if you can share, how did you start from managing both, being a business owner, a photographer, videographer, and an influencer marketing? How did that happen?
Okay, so yes, so it's been not 7, it's been 9 years now
Okay.
since we have and it's no, and I've we were actually looking in the office through how many hard drives that we have even, and it's been crazy. And you were one of the people who has always been supportive from the beginning. So of course support gets support, and thank you for having me here. So, how would I say it? The reason that I am a photographer and a videographer is I always want to be behind the camera. So being in front was sort of accidental, and up to this date, it's still something that I try to get used to. Now, one thing that Jesse made me realize, and my partner made me realize, because in the beginning I wanted to say no to these things because I feel like it is a responsibility when you start promoting for a brand, or when you are when you partner with a brand. But then he mentioned, like, look, it's something that they must see something in you, so why not, instead of hiding it, you just share it on a more bigger platform. Now, all of the brand collaborations that I had, with me being in front of the camera, was sometimes I always like, why me? But then again, what I realized was, as what Stefania also mentioned to me before, was especially most of the brands now, they are looking for real people. They are looking for not just a perfect face, but more of someone's personality or someone's character. So this is why I find it important that who you are on your socials is who you should also be in front of the camera, in front of people, which is, that's how it happened to me. I'm naturally bubbly, I'm naturally crazy. You would always see me running around. My hair has been like this for about 6 years now, so it wasn't just something that I'm like, it's me. And then brands just started to see it. Although at some point it became a little bit overwhelming, that I had to decide, is this something that I actually use? Is this something that I actually can see myself doing, using? Or so on that note, I had to choose which was also, which works for me, and also because I run a business, if it's something that also relates to the line of work that I do. Sometimes I have to consider, like, if there are brand clashes that I promote, that our company is against with. So yeah.
So you've been many years already in this, so you may have seen many changes since we almost started together, with all the brand collaborations that you've done later on. So how do you think influencer marketing has evolved from these 9 or 7 years ago? Which are the main changes that you have spotted, if you've seen any change?
Oh, a lot. Before, it was mostly about, so it kind of, like, what I noticed, especially like from work wise as well, before it became with normal people, and then it went through the following. which people kind of like, okay, I don't care what you do or what you look, we'll just see the numbers. And then now it's slowly going back again to numbers doesn't matter. It's going back again to who is this person, what does this do, and who does this person know. So, which is, to be honest, I'm happy about, because especially on that phase where it focused on numbers, there was a lot of authenticity lost along the
Yes.
way. Which is, I am very happy that now it's slowly going back to the old times, where it's, say, as what you've said earlier, it can be a brand that, like a beauty brand that can promote a yoga fitness instructor, but then because of the authenticity of that person, it still has an audience.
And how do you think, I mean, from your perspective, because you've seen it, like, not from the eyes of the marketeer, which is me or the people who are in the audience, but from the eyes of the influencer or brand ambassador, which do you think is the benefits that the companies really get through you?
So because each person has a, they have a different audience. Because with me, obviously I have a small number on social, but I have a big number in person. So with the brands who collaborate with me, they know that. Also, because I have a company that we do content, I also do take advantage of that they know that they would get good content from me at the same time.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't stop. Say, if I post, if I share, I have two platforms, which is our work one and my personal one. It doesn't stop. I actually talk about it. And sometimes brands snoop around that I don't even know. Like, they would even check if you're talking about it or if you're chatting about it. Because one thing that brands would like to feel less of, especially the more intimate startups, is
Oh, it's cutting a bit. We are losing you. So I don't know why it's cut.
wait, let me see again.
Yes, now we can see you again. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so where was I again?
You were talking about some of the brands, but then it was cut. I was about to ask, you to highlight something that we were talking already at the beginning, and is the fact that you are able to create good content because you are a videographer and a photographer. But even though, I mean, the influencers really have been even evolving on that as well. I mean, in your case, it's natural because it's your profession, but I think it's really important to highlight the fact that it has to be good content. That is not about the numbers, as you were saying. Of course, I mean, if we partner with an influencer, it has to have an important reach. But at the end of the day, if the content is not good, they are not going to keep on engaging, right?
True. But also, there are a lot of influencers now that are actually great at doing content, right? So that's why I've been noticing a strategy recently where, the mood boards that they used to send us as a professional one, it's the mood boards that's been sent to influencers now. But the thing is, what I'm noticing that's great now is influencers are starting to also be more real of themselves, if I'm making sense. Like, they're trying to be more engaging, not only in social, but also in person. Now, the influencers that are not great in person, you'll see it straight away.
Yes, I get what you mean. And I think there are two interesting things here. This confusion sometimes with the people between influencer and celebrity, which is not the same. I think an influencer, I don't like the word because it's been misused, so I prefer brand ambassador or opinion leader or whatever. And the second is the fact that people are showing more of who they are. And I do agree with you that I've seen they show more vulnerability, they show more the reality, not always the picture perfect of our lives, but the daily life, the behind the scenes, the face without the makeup. And as you sometimes share on your social as well, this is the picture on Instagram, but this is the reality before we were posing. And I think people really connect on that level. Otherwise, this previous time when you were saying of the influencers that were only seen by the numbers, it was just a fantastic picture that, yes, we all wish that we were there, but we couldn't really connect on a deeper level.
And what I do sometimes is I always make sure that if I say yes to something, I give it extra, you know, like sometimes it's not my responsibility even to send the link to a reply, or like, look, this is the screenshot of the product, this is this, because I actually believe in it. I would put more effort into making sure that other people experience it as well.
How the brands usually work with you? I mean, do they tell you how many? I mean, I know the reply, but I want to make it so. I mean, I know from the Nokia perspective, but do they ask you how many posts do you have to do? Do they give you exactly the type of content that you need to post, very specific guidelines? Do you have freedom? So how does it work for the people who's never been working with influencers?
So, for example, it depends on each brand, really. Most of them, it also depends on what budget they have. But say, for example, yes, it's very specific. Sometimes they would say like, okay, stories on this date, 2 times stories on this date, and then you post, especially if it's like if I'm not alone, like if other people are promoting it as well. There's sometimes like we all post on the same date at the same time, which is like a perfect example of it would be the Viv Clicquot campaign that was done recently. So yeah, that one I could okay, so we were instructed to post 2 stories on like 3 days before International Women's Day. And then on the same date as well, on International Women's Day itself, was when we were posting on our feeds. And then we all have to post again another story at 8:00 p.m.
Yeah.
And then it was a very specific brief of you have to cheers, you have to, that's one example of when there's a brand guideline. But most of the ones that I get, I am very happy to, because they let me do my creative freedom. But still, of course, following brand guidelines.
Yes, I think that there are probably 2 types, right? When there is for a specific campaign, which was the International Women's Day. By the way, I saw you and I saw it somewhere else. So it worked really well that it was at the same time. So that is a specific campaign. And then maybe something that is more on a 3 months or a 6 months or a 1-year agreement. It gives you more freedom and probably as well as a structure, because you also need or a minimum of posts. So you've done a lot.
Oh, one thing I might add, sorry, with that one was, okay, so my instruction was only to, okay, do a cheers in camera. But then I'm like, that's not me. For me, that's boring. So I always try to inject myself in it. So I made it funny instead and did a small skit. And then it made it different. But then, and it had more engagements, especially people now really enjoy the type of content that is very lighthearted.
Yes.
So it actually did really well. And what's more important for me is it still showed me as a person.
Yes, and now you mentioned something that is super important. That is, nowadays, people want lighthearted content. And this is the key. You guys, influencers, brand ambassadors, you know what works, which is very difficult for a company to know usually with their internal team. You are used to talk every single day to engage with your audience, with that specific audience that is yours, right? Like we were saying, a yoga instructor knows exactly how to talk to their audience. As a marketeer, I may try to do the same, but if that is not my passion, I'm not going to be able. So I think that's one of the powers. I mean, you've done a lot as a brand ambassadors, but I'm sure that, I mean, you would like to do more. What would you like to see maybe changing, or if with some of the brands that you are working now, they would tell you you have 100% total freedom? What it is something else that you would like to change with the current?
I would like now sometimes I try to pitch this to clients like, look, why not just make it why don't you not make it only about me. Like instead of you paying me to post a product, pay me with a podcast or something that I can do, create, I can create content with someone else, and you actually hit two engagements in one. Or uh are you saying, like, is there any brand that I would kind of want to work with more, or am I looking forward to work with?
No, well, I was thinking on something that maybe you were missing as a brand ambassador that you would like to do more, which
Ah,
was, yeah.
yeah, I kind of what do I want? Because the creativity side,
Mhm.
um, I'm a little bit of a rebel. I try to go away anyway with the. I mean, I stick with the brand guidelines, right? But I feel like if it's not me at all, I would either say no,
Mhm.
or yeah, I wish like more brands would give say influencers the freedom to be their own selves, because I feel like some of them try to, okay, you have to be this pretty, you have to be in this
Yeah,
angle, you have to be that, which is, to be honest, I'm seeing that slowly a little bit happen now. Like
yeah,
most of the shots that are required are either shot from the phone, or if it's shot with a natural light. So there's a little bit more authentic. I mean, I'm not, it's lacking, but I'm also seeing that it's slowly
yeah,
coming back and happening.
yeah.
Mm.
That's cool. Yeah, that's again clicking with the authenticity part that we were talking about. And last but not least, make a wish. Which would be your dream collaboration if you could choose one? That it would not even be about how much they pay you, but one super brand that you would like to take, like as per ambassador.
Emirates, fly me anywhere, like
Ooh.
that's a dream to like, because first of all, I like to travel so much. I like to eat, and then I like to talk. And then whenever we travel, I always end up naturally going to a cool place that I haven't even planned. So I feel like that would be a good campaign to go around with, and just, like, have a camera with me, put me on a plane, and literally pinpoint where to go, and then just let things happen. Because yeah, that's really funny, because everywhere I go, we don't normally make an itinerary, but I end up in a good spot, and then it becomes good content, and everyone asks, like, did you actually plan? And I'm like, no. But
Yes, yeah, and I can recall sending you a message asking you where is this spot, because I know that you discover
ah,
nice places. So if there is anyone in the audience connected to Emirates, maybe you can have
mm.
an idea here. I'm going to share your name here in case someone wants to follow you, because I do really find, first, your content is fantastic, is fun, is lighthearted, as you said, and I learn a lot about social media by following you, because you are super updated
Thank
always.
you.
So if someone wants
Mm.
to follow Haiku, and if you have any question, I'm going to step into the last part of the presentation, and you can share with us the questions and answers. Haiku, super thank you. It was a pleasure having you again, although I see you almost every day on my social media. And as said, I'm going to jump into the final part of our masterclass. If you want to stay, you are more than welcome, and so the people may be able to ask you a couple of questions.
Go for it. I'll be here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so coming back to the last part, I hope you find it insightful, and really, if you want to learn more about what a good influencer is, you can follow her as a professional exercise, and you will be enjoying really the best practices in the market. I wanted to share quickly with you. I always do something special for the people who attend my master classes, and there are two main things today. Doing the 8th edition of my social media and digital marketing workshop from the 5th to the 8th of April. It is a 4 days live stream workshop. It gets recorded as well. So if you miss any of the sessions, it's completely fine. And we go from the A to the Z of social media. Which are the trends, the different platforms, profiling, how to generate leads, create content creation, paid advertising, email marketing, how to create your content strategy. And the thing is that I have added something new this year, which is you can just select one day. Some people are only interested on the paid ads. You can do that. And the special that I do for today's people who are attending is that if you get one ticket, you're going to get one free that you can give to anyone in your network. This is going to be lasting only until the end of the week. So you know that it is first come, first serve, because we also have limited seats. And if you are willing to work on your content, I can support you with that, creating 1 month of content. Usually the price is 5,500. For the people of today, of today's masterclass, is going to be 2,890 dirhams. And if you want to work on your social media and content strategy, so you have a roadmap for the next 3 months, instead of being 8,796 dirhams, it would be 5,270. I'm going to send you today's masterclass recorded, and with these 2 deals as well, in case you want to jump into them. And I'm going to open now for questions and answers, in case someone wants to ask. So Sarah was saying that I have a loungewear brand for women, but I have not found an influencer that can lead to increase in sales. And what I was sharing at the beginning is that first of all, you need to clarify who is your audience, right? And then find influencers. Well, second, have clarity on your budget, because this is going to let you really clarify with whom can you work and with whom you are not going to be able to work. And then from that, you can take it forward and understand which are the different influencers that you would work with, and the plan. I would advise to have at least something like 3 months, because it's through repetition as well and through consistency on social media that they are going to have an impact. Does it mean that you have a 1 month campaign with an influencer is not going to be useful? Yes, of course, it's going to be useful, but if you have it for 3 months, it's going to be more consistent. If you can have more than influencer, much better than having only one. So it is better to do it twice per week with 2 influencers rather than doing every day with the same influencer, because you are going to oversaturate your audience. So I don't know.
Can I add something
Yes,
to that?
yes, please.
Yeah. So one thing I'm noticing too that's been happening with me as well is sometimes I would go to, say, an example, a salon, right? Or no, let it be an example like say as a salon. I would naturally post about it and create content about it, and then they realize, looking at it more, that I fit in their brand, and then it becomes, and then they want me to be an ambassador of their brand. So maybe one way that you could look for influencers are actually your consumers, because you know that they like you and they would talk about you, and they might actually create natural content for you.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you so much for the comment. Anyone else has any other question? I mean, the influencer, I know that there are people in the audience that they are also solopreneurs. So don't underestimate the power of partnering with people. I'll give you an example. The last year, one of my social media workshops, I did it in a space in Dubai. And we were promoting it as well through their social media networks. So we had an agreement in which I would benefit their members. So they were already creating a positive impact on their community with my help, and they were helping me as well. So they were my influencers. So don't restrict yourself to think that an influencer is a person, because it can be an institution as well. As long as they are having a key influence in the group of people that you want to reach, they are an influencer. And that happened to me. I was able to generate leads through that collaboration. Anyone else would like to ask? Anyway, I'm going to share here as well my email for any influencer, social media related question. I'm more than happy to reply. You also have all my social media in here. Again, my website is stefaniabrunori.com, on Facebook and Instagram under Stefania Brunori Official. I'm on Twitter, I am on YouTube, on everywhere and anywhere. as a marketeer. And thank you all for joining me today. I hope it was insightful. You learned something new. And thank you, Haiku, as well. And hope to see you soon, online or offline, as always. Bye.
See you.
Bye. Thank you, Sana. Welcome, Xavi. Thank you, Heba.